Hello everyone, how you going and welcome back to CrappyDesign, the place that just makes you go, seriously, surely there is no way that any designer or any person really would just be considering that as a real design, because besides the fact that it might be completely useless, it just doesn't even make sense to do in the first place. But anyway, let's jump straight into it, shall we? So then, starting right off with, I'd like to tell you that the AC is off in the car like it's on when the AC is on. Well then, what can I say? That is certainly just a very strange thing. I mean, I can kind of appreciate the effort that someone has gone to try and alert the person whether it's on or off, but really, just why have they chosen to do it that way around? It's almost as though it's just been wired wrong or something, because it just doesn't even make sense. I mean, I guess that's exactly what this sub is for, you know, like I said, people putting in place and designing things, you just go, why? It doesn't make sense to even do in the first place, and this one certainly fits that category, because even the fact that they've had to put a little off button there just to make sure that you kind of, well, I guess it's trying to alert you that it's meant to be if it's off. And then also in that case, does that mean that they are using the rear window defogger at the same time? And then also down the bottom, I mean, I could assume that rest means recirculate, but even though that doesn't really make sense to me, but why is there two lighting little holes there? But currently, considering the fact that they're both off as well as the top one, does that mean they're all kind of active at the same time and AC is off? Or I mean, yeah, it would be off because the light is on. What the hell? So wow, we've seen a lot of things on this sub, but I don't actually know if we've ever seen an inverted button like this. I mean, I'm also wondering if it's a two-position switch, so if you actually press it down, then it kind of stays down. I mean, it's in a car, so I can't imagine that's going to be the case. And it also doesn't look as though it's just going to be acting like that. It just looks as though it's going to be always flush. But it just doesn't make any sense at all. Like I said, you put that little bit of an off word there just to try and make it make sense to people saying, hang on a second, this kind of button switch, whatever you want to call it, is in relation to it being off, and that's a lie. You're trying to explain your dumb, crappy design. And the thing that I can never understand with cars is surely there has been so much money and time and effort just been put into this one thing, you know, just a massive design team. There is no way that one guy actually made the final decision on this. I mean, I can certainly hope not, because he made the wrong one, but I just fail to see how something like this can even get through an entire design team. Like, how does every single person not see that that is an issue? I mean, I guess obviously it has, and like I said, I'd love to know what car it is. I mean, in saying that, I don't mind the look that they've given to the plastic behind it with a little bit of a swirly pattern, but really that just must have been where all the money was spent, because there is no way that anyone thought that through when they came to the AC. But hey, I guess even though it might not be the norm, and it is a little bit strange, and I just cannot fathom why anyone will be doing this, at the same time, at least you've got it, and hopefully it works. And so I guess if nothing else, as long as they put as much money into the AC as they actually a little bit of a swirly pattern there, then really it should be running forever. Bought an automatic soap dispenser. It could not resist water and the batteries rusted. I'm just a little bit confused about the entire thing. I mean, it did have a little bit of a tag in terms of operator error, but really, yeah, that doesn't seem like the best idea. I mean, maybe you should just be placing it down in a dry environment, I guess is what they're thinking, but I really don't know many places that are going to require soap but also be completely dry. And so look, even though it has been posted as operator error, there is definitely at the same time just a hint of crappy design, because, well, you shouldn't be kind of making things that are around water not be waterproof, I feel. And I guess also in saying that, you should probably not be storing things where you clearly have put the batteries in, you know how it attaches, you know it's not just been sealed or anything like that, but you should probably be making sure that the base of the entire device isn't, well, I don't even know how underwater that would be, but really it is pretty obvious that the entire thing has been submerged at some point under there. And so look, even though it would make the entire product more expensive, I almost feel as though this is a case just for kind of built-in lithium batteries or something like that, just something that you can completely seal off, no need to get any water around or anything like that. And even though obviously this is, like they said, operator error, at the same time something like this could be avoided, and you don't have to worry about people having kind of operator error or just not kind of reading the manual or whatever it may be, because you could cover the entire thing in kind of danger stickers and put warning signs all over it, or even dedicate an entire manual to the fact that it shouldn't be stored around water. But really, you're always going to be having people that do this, so I just feel as though everyone's lives would have been that little bit more simple if you just made it kind of a fully enclosed bit. I mean, maybe you have to take off some kind of little port to be able to charge it, or maybe you put it on the back. Either way, unless you're going to be moving that port to the top, you're certainly going to have to try and figure something out there. But no, that entire situation has not turned out too well, and I wonder if it even still works. I mean, it might still work even though the batteries and everything is rusted, but at the same time, I don't really know if I want it to work, because really it doesn't look very appetizing anymore in terms of a soap dispenser, and so maybe it's just been completely busted by the entire thing. And maybe that's even why you just went, hang on a second, it's not working anymore, I guess maybe I'll have to change the batteries. Oh my goodness, what has happened here? This bench, where I leave it, is very hot, and it is impossible to sit in this park. Ow, yeah, that is certainly going to hurt in the hot sun. My goodness, look at that thing. I've never seen anyone kind of make a bench like that. I mean, I kind of don't mind it, and I can also imagine that it would have been super cheap, considering you just kind of take this bit, chop it out here, and then that's going to give you a leg profile and everything like that. And so I can definitely understand why someone thought that this was going to be a good idea, because it's going to be a nice cheap bench. You can just pump them out, you know, for anything that they just want to last. You know, they need it to last for years and years and years. They can't be replacing this every time, and so virtually making it, or I guess really you have completely made it, except for a little bit of an armrest, completely out of metal. Just makes sense. But then in saying that, at the same time, it is just unfortunate, because they clearly haven't really thought about the entire environment that it's going to be living in. Because given the fact that it is metal, I feel as though there was actually kind of a very small temperature range or climate range where this would actually be appropriate. You know, you can't have this in freezing cold environments. People are just going to be sticking sticking to it, and then really in hot environments, people are kind of going to be sticking it as they melt to it as well. So look, I guess something like this just clearly shows you the difference between an alright designer and just a great designer, because people are actually able to kind of design to what is going to be needed or just appropriate or whatever it may be. I mean, I guess in saying that, whoever designed this chair or bench, whatever you want to call it, probably did not have the final say in terms of where it went or wasn't even briefed in the first place. And so look, I guess overall, considering the fact that you can't sit on it when it gets hot, it is definitely a crappy design, but I don't feel as though you could actually blame anyone for this. Or really, I guess I can see how this could be an accidental crappy design. I mean, not through crappy design, but just through people just kind of not thinking about every little detail that they might need to. But hey, look, I guess if nothing else, it is certainly a strong base and a sturdy base that they could really just kind of attach anything to. You could put timber on it, you can paint it, you can do so many things, just anything to try and reduce that overall bum temperature, because there is no way that you want to be sitting on hot steel. Because man, I can certainly agree that it is not a nice feeling when you suddenly have a very, very hot seat and you just kind of need to kind of sit down for a second. Who thought this needed an acronym? What? There is no way that that can even be called an acronym anymore. How many letters is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 letters. What is it even meant to be? Okay, every day in Middle Georgia is an Armed Forces Appreciation Day. Wow, that is an incredible. Like they said, there is no way that that needed an acronym. I mean, maybe if you could have made it into a word, then sure, but that is certainly not a word in my game fly, Dad. Whatever way you read it, there is no way that that can be considered an acronym. That is ridiculous. And look, nobody is out here trying to say that the entire thing should just be canned, but just it doesn't make sense to make an acronym. Acronyms are meant to be just short little things that completely sum it all up, really, or like I said, just make a word. But when you can't make a word and it is 10 letters long, there is no way that you should be trying to make an acronym. It's like if you tried to acronym every single sentence ever, you know, it just would be ridiculous, because there is no way that you can derive any word from the entire thing. You know, there were just too many options. By the time you go through every single E to D to I to M to G to I to A to F to A to D to combination of English words, then you just be going, there is no way. I mean, I would love to know what else you could kind of spell out of that acronym, because I'm sure you could get some pretty serious kind of things. Probably even some things that they wouldn't be too happy about in Middle of Georgia Armed Forces Appreciation Day. I guess in saying that, why couldn't you just done kind of an MGAFA day? I mean, I certainly wouldn't consider that to be a short acronym, but it still gets the point across. I mean, you can still have every day in Middle Georgia is an Armed Forces Appreciation Day. That's fine. That can be your slogan, but it does not mean you have to put it into an acronym. It just does not make sense. And so look, I would just love to meet the person of the committee that actually decided that this was a needed thing, because, well, like we said, who decided that we actually needed this acronym? I want to meet them and just see what kind of their entire life is like, because I feel as though their entire life would just be so chaotic as they just try and make sense of things. I mean, if that's how you want to remember it, that's fine. You know, you can make acronyms to remember things. You know, people do it in school, just these stupidly long acronyms. But as a real campaign or ad or just even banner or whatever you want to call it, it just does not make sense. I can't get over it. It's just funny to look at. I mean, hey, at least you can actually read it. There are plenty of signs that we've seen where you've just been completely unable to be read, or just the entire thing doesn't make sense. So you go, really, just who was the graphical designer of this thing? Because, well, you just need to not go to them again or just completely fire them. But at least this one has actually been done alright, so you got to give them a tick in that regard. And then, like I said, nobody is saying that it was a bad idea to do something like this. You know, sure, have your Armed Forces Appreciation Days, that's fine, but just don't be making a 10 word sentence into an acronym, and it's just not going to work. Like I said, there was just too many things. Unless you have just so much more context, then maybe you could do it, but still at the same time, just no. The placement of this baby's head wasn't quite thought through. Oh no, oh no, that is just unfortunate, isn't it? I mean, I wouldn't exactly say that it's crappy design, because it also doesn't look as though it's been molded too well, but in saying that, I certainly have to agree with the title, because there is no way that in most of these it is going to be working too well. Just look at that, it makes it look so weird. And to be honest, I don't really get the connection here. At first I was thinking that it was toilet paper, and then I went, oh, maybe it's just paper towel, but no, actually looking at it, it looks as though it's water. And so why do you think that it's going to be a good idea to put a baby's head on a water bottle? It doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, sure, the kind of gaze is looking up at it, but you could have done that with anyone. And so I feel as though that is actually the more confusing thing about it, because like I said, yeah, like either, I don't know, toilet paper or even nappies or something like that is usually what babies are on, not water, because there is no direct association, so it doesn't make sense to do. I mean, I guess babies do need water, but then again, I feel as though they'd need water less than a fully grown human, because, well, I can only imagine that the mother would probably actually need a little bit more water than the baby would. So yeah, what can I say is, well, it's just not being very thought through in terms of the placement of the baby, because, well, it's just going to be deformed every single time around the curve of the bottle. At the same time, I just don't understand the entire thought process here. And really, once again, I can only imagine that this would have been a massive group of people that this would have had to go through and been like, yes, okay, we actually like this product and its placement and everything like that, because I feel as though it's a fairly fair assessment to say that any product that is going to be ending up on the shelves is just going to have a massive multi-million-dollar company behind it. And so I just continually fail to see how things like this get through these massive corporations and companies. You know, with a banner, let's say it might be 5 people or 1 person even, so you can kind of understand. But with a massive corporation like this, it just does not make sense how things like this just get through, and really that poor child has just been scarred for life. Look at the poor thing. And so please just think of the children who actually design these things, because well, that poor kid has just been scarred by water. The new school in my community has a wheelchair access button for the door, but no way for a person in a wheelchair to reach it. What? I thought it was going to be way up in the air or something like that. Not that it was actually just going to be up a gutter. Who designed this? I mean, I guess I have seen wheelchairs in desperate situations have to go up little gutters like that before, but it certainly isn't going to be up to code, you know? Surely that bit of concrete there was actually meant to be a ramp or something like that. There was no way that that can actually be up to code. I would just refuse to believe it, especially in a brand new building. Like, this wasn't retrofitted. It wasn't anything like that. It isn't like a bus or anything where they just have to suddenly whip out a ramp for wheelchair access. No, you can literally just see this poor guy going, hang on a second, how am I meant to get to that button? Because even if I was able to reach it, that doesn't kind of solve the entire problem in the first place. You know, if I had long arms, the door is going to open, sure, but how am I going to get up there? And so I certainly hope that this guy isn't too upset by the entire situation. I mean, I guess with a little bit of help, and like I said, maybe he can get himself up there, but it should not be a problem. Like I said, like the person said, this is a brand new building. How is this actually been done? It does not make sense. But imagine being the electrician that has been tasked with installing that button. You just be going, hang on a second, I don't see any ramp around here. I don't understand, but I guess I'm just going to do my job because I'm sure they'll sort it out. But no, clearly they did not sort it out. They just went straight ahead and just went, hang on a second, I don't really know what we're going to do, but it's too expensive now. And even given the fact that they would have had the entire build process to try and fix this, you know, the concrete slab, unless it's been done with the paving or the footpath, would have been one of the first things to go down. And so I am just failing to see how nobody picked this up throughout the entire process. It just does not make sense, and really it could have been so easily avoided. And also I can only imagine that the builders that actually had to spend however long building it probably would have liked a ramp if they could have had one. So yeah, even though this one is definitely an accident, with the amount of money a new building like this costs and just the amount of codes and all the different specs that you have to do, I just do not see how this could even be a thing in the first place. But obviously accidents happen and things like this happens, and hopefully this guy is actually alright with the entire situation. But hey, it won't be long until someone isn't alright with the entire situation. And hey, what about in an emergency situation? Did anyone think about that? Probably not. Oh, you want to insert a disc while something is plugged into the front USB ports? No, screw you. Where is the CD port? Oh no, wait, what? No. Who designed this? I mean, I must say it's kind of a funky design, but it just makes no sense with practicality and efficiency. You know, I actually don't mind the fact that the CD drive might be a little bit hidden, but you have to be able to use the rest of the ports. Like, to have to unplug what, headphones, a USB-C, a USB-A, and then an SD card probably just to be able to get in there, and another USB as well. That is just absolutely ridiculous. You just be going, oh, I'm just never going to be playing CDs. I mean, I guess in saying that, you probably shouldn't be playing CDs anymore. There are plenty of other ways to be getting music. But hey, I guess maybe someone is feeling nostalgic, or really the entire reason that they bought the thing might have been because it actually had a CD drive. And so for this to be a thing, that is just absolutely great in a way in terms of comedic gold, but man, it would be so annoying to deal with. And if nothing else, it just does not bode too well in terms of the rest of the computer, because surely if that is a problem that you're having already, the long-term health of this computer is just going to go downhill very, very quickly. Because looking at how flimsy everything is, I can only imagine that that slide cover is going to be breaking in with a couple more uses, and even the CD drive is probably not going to be working, let alone just the rest of the components and everything. So yeah, it certainly doesn't give me too much hope for this entire thing. And look, obviously we don't know the price of this system, but at the same time I feel as though it'd be fairly safe to assume that you get what you pay for with this kind of thing. And so I guess in that case you probably knew what you were getting into with this entire thing. But yeah, this certainly doesn't excuse the entire design thing, because well, you just could have made that slither a little bit shorter and then just be able to kind of move it side to side, so then it wouldn't be clashing with the entire USB hub. Or I'm sure if this company actually got some decent designers on board, this entire situation probably could have been avoided, and all it would have taken was just one clever person or just someone with a brain to go, hang on a second, even though CDs are a thing of the past, surely we just cannot be selling something like this where we just have to completely screw the entire front I/O panel just for a CD. It just does not make sense. So yeah, the entire thing is just utterly chaotic and just crappily designed, and I guess that's exactly what this just brings us, just utter gold like this, doesn't it? And so now finally for the top of the mud for CrappyDesign, we have Walgreens replaces their freezer window panels with screens that constantly flash/move and don't accurately represent what's inside the fridge. Oh, what? And they just look ugly as well. Like, what the hell is going on here? I mean, I feel as though a video probably would have been a little bit better in terms of understanding their flashing and moving and just how awkward it would be, but what the hell is going on here? I mean, I guess it's advertising, isn't it? And so of course, if they're able to turn every single fridge into a billboard, then they're gonna do it because they can just get advertisement dollars. But no, it just doesn't really make sense to me, because surely the amount of extra electricity that you're going to be using to power all these screens, as well as just all the extra electricity that you're going to be using because people are going to be opening the door, going, oh, it's not in here, opening the next door, oh, it's not in here, opening the next door, it's not in here, just where the hell is it? I can't find it because I can't can't actually see what I'm going for anymore. Because even if the title didn't say it outright, we can clearly see that those things are not going to be lining up with their corresponding spot on the shelf, and so the entire thing is just going to be so inefficient, like from power to people just to try and even get their food, like, oh, why? So yeah, really, this one is just absolutely leagues above all the other crappy design posts that we've had, because, well, it is also just mildly infuriating, almost to the point where I feel as though if this happened at my supermarket, I would just stop shopping there. I'd go, no, stuff here, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not getting advertised at while I'm trying to shop. I don't need that. I already get all the branding and the products and packaging and all that kind of stuff. I don't need to have flashing images come up over the product that I'm looking for so I can't even find it in the first place, let alone the fact that it looks as though they have sensors above it so they know when people are walking by so they can display those ads right then and there. Like, the entire thing is just so money driven, it's ridiculous, but it just doesn't make sense because of all the electricity, surely. And so yeah, like I said, as well as being crappy design, it is also mildly infuriating because it has just left me with so many questions as to why and how this has even been put into place, and also like why the sensors, why the little microphone looking thing on the side of the door, just why the entire thing. So yeah, the whole thing has just been taken to a completely over the top level in terms of advertising, and really, like I said, if it was me, I feel as though it would probably work in the wrong way in terms of what they want. I would just stop shopping there because it would get pretty frustrating pretty quickly. If you open the fridge with the thing on the front and it wasn't in there, you go, well, I'll stuff it. I'm just not shopping here. I'm not buying the product anymore. I'll go somewhere better. But anyway, that is going to do it for the top of the month for Crappy Design. So thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to do the YouTube algorithmic things down below and let me know if you had a favorite post out of any of these. Other than that, we check out awesome posts all over Reddit, so make sure you check some of the other videos out now. Or hey, maybe you even want to consider subscribing so that you don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.